What's going on, guys? Want to welcome you guys to our weekly prep. Um, I want you, if you haven't, Sundays is our core four call. I put it just so you guys know, like when you have time, you could just go through the core four videos. I'm pretty sure like all of them are pretty good. So the one that we did right now is on personal development, so you're able to watch this here. Also, I want you to follow the challenge that we have going on. If you're new, you're just looking at this video, go to the welcome start here and watch the welcome video so you can get familiar with the Discord. All right, so moving forward with the weekly prep. We just had some headlines that just came out, but let's first start off with last week. So Trump imposed tariffs on Apple in Europe on Friday. That was just really the biggest. That was just the biggest headline that came out for the week, right? But overall, it was just a tactic for him to get them to speed up tariffs, right? Just to speed up negotiations. It wasn't really the way that they're trying to have us understand it is that it wasn't because like he really wants to do it because there was no solution. It was just that he's assuming that Europe is just dragging it along, and this is just a way for them to let's get to the negotiation table and let's talk, or I'm gonna have to just do this, right? So that's kind of like how it went. But we still saw a risk off market. That was the reason why we saw equities push lower, gold push higher. We saw a complete risk off market. But what we had today was simply everything opposite of that. So we see that Trump agrees to delay 50% tariffs on EU until July 9th. But this came in because EU's von der Leyen, however you say it, like she had a call with Trump and then she asked them if it was possible to delay the and give them more time until July 9th, right? So this could be optimistic, right? Because this actually came from uh, a member from the EU telling them, "Can you put it to this date?" So most likely, we're going to see more negotiations. Markets already reacted risk on from this headline, but the bigger picture, right? We understand that we see that China. The latest headlines was China also had de-escalations with tariffs. There's also more countries that they're having agreements with. We saw that the UK actually made an agreement. So if this could end up as another positive route, right, we're probably going to see more of a risk on market for the session. That's something that we could pay attention to. But a delay is not really good news, right? We need to see what comes on after this delay. We need to see if anything happens this week with headlines between the EU, right, that is positive because then we could take advantage of the risk on market. Right now, the market is just reacting towards the rumor. But the bigger picture is that tensions is still there, right? Nothing has really changed. They haven't had no agreements. There was nothing that was actually positive. So we don't really have anything written in stone that is like, okay, this is 100% positive. So this is where we have to focus on price action, right? We have to see how the markets will react moving forward, just so that if we could see continuations in the direction, right? Like long term, is this going to be positive, or the markets is looking at the overall picture and it's like, okay, this is a spike of a risk on market, but actually nothing has changed. But for now, we got the risk on market, but let's see what happens after like 9 p.m. Eastern or London session. Let's see if we could see some actual continuations. It's a possibility we could see some market movement today, knowing that tomorrow is a holiday. Okay, so just something just to be aware of that we're probably going to see some market movement today because tomorrow's a holiday. I don't recommend holding tomorrow at market closures because anything could happen tomorrow, right? We could see negative headlines or positive headlines. We don't know. So we just have to be cautious with that. But other headlines too, we got more escalations coming in between Russia and Ukraine. So that's just another thing that we want to focus on. Economic data. So this week, every day we got something besides Monday is a holiday, but Tuesday we got the RBA rate decision and AUD CPI over London over Asian session. So those two events is going to be important. We're going to focus on AUD CPI. Let's see if we get some really good tradable opportunities with that. Wednesday we got meeting minutes, right? It's just the meeting minutes is just like after every 2 3 weeks, every 2 weeks after a rate decision, we get the meeting minutes. It's just like a summary of the rate decision, if things has changed, usually we could see a different tone in the meeting minutes. So we could see what happens. Usually it's just the same commentary from the rate decision, but we're going to focus on those meeting minute comments. It's just headlines. It's not going to be no live video, nothing. Just a bunch of headlines that's just going to come out with a summary about monetary policy. Okay. Thursday, we have US GDP and jobless claims. GDP is going to be important. Obviously, we can see that's growth data we can focus on. On Friday is going to be a big day because we have PCE index is inflationary, and then we also got CAD GDP. So good events for the week for possible opportunities. So we do have holidays. We can see Monday we got a holiday full day closure, Memorial Day for the U.S. and the U.K. stock market. Like I believe currencies are still going to be open, but again, just focus on price action. Slow. It's not a lot of volume, but again, if you guys are trading over those sessions, I believe the currencies are still going to be open. It's just the stock markets is going to be closed and the bond markets. Thursday, we have holidays for Europe and also for Swiss. So full day closures for those pairs. So Europe, same situation. And that's really it. So we got upcoming Fed speakers this week. So I just did a list, but I'm pretty sure most of us just like Fed speakers. But as you can see, it starts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with the times coming in so that you can just be aware of whatever session you're trading. Just be aware of a speaker. Like May 27th, we do have the Bank of England, Uruda. He's the governor. He's going to have open remarks, new challenges on monetary policy. That's going to be at 2:30 a.m. Right. So this is definitely something to focus on at this time. Like just like that. Right. So let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that was really it. Bailey. I don't know if Bailey's speaking on monetary policy on the 29th, but that's really it. But paying attention to that. Got earnings this week. I thought we had, yeah, we got Nvidia coming on Wednesday. So that's going to be important for obviously Nasdaq, right? We're going to see what happens with Nvidia. Really, I think that's really it. Macy's not really. To me personally, I think, yeah, Nvidia is going to be obviously that's going to be the main focus of Nas. If we get a bad print, we know understand how the tech stocks is going to take a huge hit. So that's something that we're going to focus on moving forward. All right, guys. So just looking at the markets now, just because Trump market open just had those comments. I think he did it purposely because if he would have never did that, we would have completely had a risk off market at the open, right? So, but one of the things I want us to focus on is because we are coming to 10, right? I mean 9 p.m. We could see how the markets react at Asia Pac Open, okay? Because if this is going to be a little bit of de-escalations, right? We could possibly start seeing a stronger dollar, which is going to be ideal, right? I would, and also we're going to see a weaker yen. I think possibly if we get a stronger dollar, right, that would be a good sign that the markets is acting risk on from what's going on. One sec, guys. Okay. So what I would look for is possibility to see how the dollar reacts. Because if we could see the dollar hold this area of support and start pushing up higher, breaking above 99,200, that to me would signal good buys for a pair like USD JPY. Because when we're dealing with de-escalations on tariffs, this gives more trust within the dollar. The yen could get weaker because this is a risk on market. So investors is going to pull away from safe havens and go to riskier assets, right? So that could help with a stronger dollar. If we get de-escalations, breaking below 33.40 is going to be a good idea, taking advantage of shorts in gold, right? That will be a good idea to focus on. Um, Also, if we get positivity, like we see if if we continue to see a risk on market, right? We're going to see equities start breaking above these highs. US 30 breaking above 44,990. It's going to be a good entry for a buy. And then we're going to see breaks above 21,150 on Nasdaq, breaking above that high, which is going to be a good idea for a risk on market. We want to see the entire markets react risk on in order for us to take advantage of opportunities. I personally think that would be the best opportunities for this for the week if we could see this continue to give us those de-escalations, okay? But now if we see the opposite, I'm going to just do it in red. If we see gold break above this high of 33.65, we start breaking above that resistance, that will to me will signal a risk off market. And on top of that, we will start seeing the dollar holding below 99.0. If we see that, more likely, ideally, USD JPY holding below 142.500 would be good sells because we're going to see a risk off market, right? Stronger yen. We're going to see a weaker dollar as the markets don't trust the dollar. Then we're going to look at equities, right? US 30, we're going to see it break below 41,800, which could be a good scalp to the downside. And Nasdaq, if it could stay below 21,000, that would probably give us some good opportunities for more sells. Okay, that's why how I think is going to be a good play if we get a risk off market. Also, like GJ sells to me would be a good opportunity for sells if we see a stronger yen. Like I hope it don't happen now, but if we could stay below 193.200, I think that would be some good sell scalps with 193.0. And the dollar pairs, right? We're gonna see a weaker. If it's a weaker, like yeah, we get a weaker dollar, right? Ideally, I like the idea of GU breaking above resistance 1.35450 pushing higher if we see dollar continues to get weaker. I think to me that would be the best option. Okay. So now let's talk about the euro stocks, right? Because this is obviously impacting. I know that the screen is wide, but just look to all the way to the right. If we this could also give us a giveaway, right? So I would focus on the range, whatever you want to trade, right? If you're looking at German 30, just focus on this range and like because obviously at market open it's going to be very volatile, but if we see this ends up if this ends up being positive, right? We see a risk on market, we're going to see EU recover and that like whatever you take, like German 30 or the Euro stock market, the Euro 50, maybe DAX, I think is a big one. We're going to see breaks above 23,700. That to me will give us a signal that the market is very optimistic and the European markets is being optimistic. But if we see that tensions is still escalating, right, we're just going to see the German 30 break support. That would trigger more downside. And then we're going to see how the whole entire markets react from that. All right. So that's just something to pay attention to. But just remember the trade ideas, set those alerts because it could happen at any time, right? It could happen over London session. It could happen tomorrow. Like currencies could be a big mover and stock markets won't move. But just focus on the breaks of structure. Don't just try to enter trades randomly without waiting for the markets to confirm a direction first. All right. So that you're just not getting caught in messed up price action. And just remember to set those alerts, guys, so that you're going to be able to take advantage of a good trade. But what's going to happen is that the entire market is going to move at once, right? And that's what's going to give a bias. So let's wait for volume. Let's see what happens after 9 p.m. If not, then probably set those alerts and let's see what happens around 12 a.m. to about 5 a.m. London session. And then New York, if nothing happens within that time, let's wait till Tuesday, guys. All right. Have a good one. Hopefully you enjoy the weekly prep. Any questions? Don't hesitate to ask.